Hey there, my name's Nate. Today, we're just going to do a little book review of Fated by Benedict Jacka. It is book one of the Alex Verus series, starring the titular Alex Verus. It was released in 2012, yes, and it is an urban fantasy book series. The author was very inspired by the Dresden Files, which I have not yet read. But outside of the Dresden Files, if you have not read those, you can compare it to shows like Buffy or Supernatural. So this takes place in modern day London, starring our main character, Alex Verus, in his bookshop that he runs in London. And he is a diviner mage, which is a mage that can see into the future using their abilities. And it's not, as they describe it so far in this first book, it's not where you can like have prophecies of the far off future. It's that in the immediate near future you can glimpse at the possibilities before you and sort of predict or like pick out what of your actions can lead to which possible future. So you don't have any attack magic or any more complicated spells, but you have the ability to like always, be able to like think through any situation and by predictive analysis, basically, of what's going to work. Now, the actual plot of this is that there are these two factions of mages, of dark mages and light mages, and they both factions want to break into this. They want to break into this relic that's supposed to have like this unfathomable power that would be a benefit to them. And in order to get to it, they need a diviner mage to get past all of the traps and safeguards. And Alex Verus is the only mage that they can find for the job. And that is kind of the broad strokes starting point for where this goes, for our book here. Sorry about the cough. Still recovering from a cold. Now, Alex, he doesn't really want to have anything to do with either faction of mages. He sees himself as more of an independent. He just wants to run his magic shop, mind his own business. Maybe he'll do a little gig or task here or there for another mage, but for the most part, he just wants to be left alone. And he mostly does that. Besides his recent assistant that he has taken on, a girl named Luna, who is cursed. Her bloodline is cursed from this from a witch like hundreds of years ago. And it's like a probability-based curse, so whoever she touches or any objects she touches will eventually have some kind of misfortune fall upon them. But in exchange for her, it can prevent her from like suffering accidents or actually like avoiding danger, or possibly getting like a luckier result. So it is a double-edged sword, but it causes her to be able to have to avoid people or not be able to experience like any like real friendships or relationships other than like her workman relationship with Alex, who's trying to help her overcome her curse since they've met and they've been working together. And that's kind of that's really all you need to know about the book, because frankly, even though this is an adult novel, it feels more YA in my opinion, other than like a couple of mentions of like sexual assault, this feels like mostly like a YA novel. Um, so, I would recommend this to like high schoolers and up. I don't really think it's that dark or anything at all. Um, and I'll go ahead and give my score now, so that way I can then go into more of like my pros and cons. So out of 5 stars, I would give this 3 stars. I think it's just an okay book. I don't think I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. I think it's just okay. I think it has potential for the rest of the books in the series to be better. But at the moment, I'm kind of lukewarm, I guess I would say. Alex, as the main character, he's fairly typical. As a protagonist, I find him to be fairly typical of. And in the book, they talk about him as this like experienced mage he has this dark past, and he's been through the ringer. But then, like, I find him in so many situations in this book to make these really stupid decisions that feel like that he should know better than to be making, or especially in the book, they say that he's about 30 years old, and honestly, he feels like a character that's like in their late teens, early 20s. Like, he feels like a much younger, like a younger character than he is. It feels like, and I guess that's partly why I said it doesn't really feel like an adult novel. It feels almost YA, which, not crapping on YA, I like YA novels, some of them. It just, like, it reads much younger than I think it's, like, portrayed, just, like, from the blurb on the back of the book, or, like, from, like, the initial first chapter or so. Let's see. And I'm trying to avoid spoilers. And as for the setting, even though the book takes place in London, I feel like the setting doesn't actually affect the story at all. Like, even though it's take place in London, it could have taken place in Chicago, like the Dresden Files is, or New York, or any number of settings, because the things that happen in this book don't reflect, like, London culture at all in any way. Like, this book can take place anywhere. The setting of this world, of this book, of Alex, where he works, where he's from, it doesn't matter at all, which one of the things I find fault with is, I know it's urban fantasy, so it is modern day, so it's not in some fantastical world where each, continent or country has, like, their own hyper-individualized culture. But still, I feel like you could have brought some more of that, that UK, British culture out more. Because honestly, speaking as an American, this could have taken place in the USA, and I wouldn't, it doesn't make any difference. And outside of Alex and Luna, all of the other characters are, in my opinion, very bland and forgettable. If they pop up in any future books, I'll be like, whatever. I don't have any anticipation for any other characters that have popped up, or like to see them again. And as for the magic system, so they explain how Alex uses his diviner magic and how that works. But for all of the other characters and their magic, it doesn't really explain any of that. And I'm not saying that this needs to have like some kind of deep, hard magic system like I've heard about from like Sanderson books or things like that. But I feel like since the rules of the magic in this world have not been clearly defined, I don't know what the limits are or what the potential is. Which, playing devil's advocate, some people would say, well, that's interesting because you don't know in the future what more they could be capable of that could be like interesting for surprises. But the way it reads in this book, it feels very, I don't know, lazy. Which I hate to say is lazy, but it felt that way. So I may be coming off very harsh, but like I said, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Because even though I do have genuine faults with this, I do have things I like. Like Alex, despite him making what I would say are stupid decisions sometimes, he is overall like a pretty interesting character. I want to learn more about his past because I found that to be the most interesting part of him. And Luna, to see like where she goes in the future with her curse and how that develops, I would like to learn more about that and potentially even get maybe more information about the different factions and how they actually work. I think that'd be really interesting to learn about too. So I gave it a 3 out of 5 because I think that the series has potential going forward. So I don't so as I said, this isn't a bad book. I think it's just okay. I think it has potential. The series has potential going forward. And like I said earlier, this is book 1 of the Alex Verus series. There's 12 books in total, and the series is already done. So it's wide open for you or anybody else who might like an urban fantasy series to read. But yeah, that's Alex Verus actually not Alex Verus. That is Faded by Benedict Jacka, book 1 of the Alex Verus series, and that's my review. Thank you for your time.